they offered him the fight because they want to boost the card a little bit more, and he didn't take the fight for whatever reason.
What up, everyone? Shakiel Mahjouri here for CBS Sports, and you know who this is. He is the UFC's #4 ranked lightweight contender, fighting Arman Tsarukyan in the main event of UFC Austin on Saturday. Between him and Luke Thomas, there's enough salt and pepper to cure a sodium deficiency. Beneil Dariush, how's it going, man?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm
That's
doing
a
well.
pretty strong intro.
Hey, man, we've all got our gimmick. If Bruce Buffer ever lets you down, give me the call. I'll come. I'll put something good together for you. Okay.
Yeah, you'll be my first choice.
Appreciate it. Now, we were talking a little bit about this off the air. You're like, hey, man, they even let me headline this card. How did that actually come together? Because, like, or sorry, let me correct that. It's been like in the news cycle, I feel like forever now that you and Arman are going to fight. When did you officially find out that, hey, it's 5 rounds and it's the main event?
So I was hearing that I was going to be co-main event, but they still wanted to do 5 rounds, which I was like, all right, whatever, let's do that. That's fine with me. And I would say maybe 3 weeks ago they called me, or they called my management and they told him, hey, he's going to be the headliner, and obviously still 5 rounds.
It's sort of like I feel like we're beating a dead horse here with Beneil maybe not getting the sort of attention or respect that might be earned through the fights he's put on. How good did it feel to get this main event spot on like a really stacked fight night? Should be a wild crowd in Austin.
I mean, I look at it as a privilege because if you look at the card, there's a lot of other guys who could be the main event. And there's champions, I mean, former champions, people who've challenged for the title, and it's just a great card. So to be able to headline it is a privilege for me, and I just look at it like that, and I don't overthink it.
I saw an analyst recently say how he's a little worried for you because of Arman's age and he's really coming into his physical prime and Beneil's a little older. But if you look at the lightweight division lately, I mean, I'm sure some people thought the same thing about Gamrot. You turn him back. Gaethje beats Fiziev. Like, I feel like the established guys at the top of lightweight are still putting in good work. Is there anything that you can draw from your fight with Gamrot and then Arman's fight with Gamrot when it comes to sort of preparing for this one?
I think really they're different fighters, but I think people just have to respect my grappling more. I think before the Gamrot fight, they just assumed he was going to take me down, control me, and that was going to be the fight. I think we can clearly see that's not going to be the case. He's going to have to work really hard to get me down and then to hold me down.
You recently told Helen Yee that part of what made Sean Strickland a world champion is that during the pandemic, he was beating up all the high school wrestlers at your school. So is it safe to say that you've been whooping on teens in advance of this Arman fight?
So, sort of. I don't have as many because it's not COVID time anymore. I don't have those young guys. These are all like guys who were getting ready to go to universities, top
Mm-hmm.
line universities. They were going to be like the next big thing in wrestling, and I'm so to be able to wrestle with them, get my butt kicked by them was great. But unfortunately, they're gone now. COVID's over. They all have their clubs. They have their thing going on. So I've had plenty of good wrestlers, but I haven't been doing as much folk style wrestling, the collegiate stuff.
Now, one thing I've always really appreciated about you, and I think it's probably why we get along so well, is like you have never defined yourself by your career as a fighter. Your religion, your family, these are all things that come first for you. And for me, I feel like I can work hard because to me this is not what defines me. I have a whole life outside of MMA that's way more important to me. That being said, coming into this sort of like rebuilding period, hopefully to get you another title shot, does the approach at all change in terms of like calling people out, marketing? Like, is there any desire to do anything different now that the trajectory has changed a bit?
Not really. As long as they continue to give me the best fighters in the world, it's really hard to complain. You know, that's all I ever wanted in my career was to fight the best people in the world and overcome them. That's it. So that's my goal. And as long as we're heading in that direction, I'm perfectly good with it.
You know, you told me something. I it made for like a really, I think, honest feature. So I thank you for sharing it with me the last time we talked in Vancouver. But you were very candid about how coming off the losing skid that preceded this like amazing run to the top of the lightweight division, that you thought your career was dead and quote you're on the verge of retiring. Now, this is a very different circumstance. One setback against the former champion who's fighting for the title again. I am curious though, like aside from just the general frustration, what were some of the thoughts going into your head, either immediately after or now that you've had some time to sit on it, beyond just the natural disappointment?
I mean, frustration, obviously, but I know there's a reason for everything that happens, and so I just tried to tackle the things that I could, and the first thing I focused on was my family, spending time
Mentioned it.
with my wife and kids. You know, that was really it. But in terms of what I can take away from it, it just didn't perform well that day. You know, and it's hard to really because in the gym, and in my other fights, I performed so much better. So that day I didn't show up. So my goal really is to just to make sure on the day of the fight I show up. So whatever that requires, I'm gonna do that. And I believe if I show up, I'm the best in the world. So that's the only thing. I can't make too many excuses because that cheapens Charles's win. Charles
Totally.
beat me that night. He was the better fighter, but I know that's not the best I can be. So that's my goal is to just continue to improve and show it next time.
Is there anything tangible you can do to sort of better prepare yourself for the possibility of an off night?
I would say, outside of the cage, make sure you take care of everything, meaning in terms of training, your workload outside of training, everything like that. Try to minimize it to make that moment
Mm,
um as perfect as possible. But it's hard, man, because I feel like I'm already doing that. So whatever
totally.
adjustments I can make, I am making. So I'm trying to get even more laser focused is the best way I would put it.
As we sort of move off of, actually, I guess last thing before we move off of your immediate career, I'm curious. I know that like Dustin Poirier is a guy you've been interested in fighting, and I was kind of trying to like gauge like what's next for Dariush if he beats Arman. Any idea, any like interest, or do you think Dustin Poirier might be a little more open to fighting you coming off a loss? Because I feel like UFC 300 sounds pretty good.
So from my understanding is actually they offered him December 2nd with me.
Wow. Okay.
Or was it the November card this last week or whatever? They offered
95.
him to fight. Yeah, they offered him to fight because they want to boost the card a little bit more, and he didn't take the fight for whatever reason.
Mm. Okay. So, well, I like my fantasy matchmaking. Either way, I know there's like when I put out a tweet, I wasn't the first to report it, but when I put out that Tony Ferguson and Paddy Pimblett are fighting, I cannot tell you like the swath of reactions. I actually don't hate the fight myself because it's like a significant step down, I think, from some of the guys Tony has been fighting, and he needs that. And I'm still not sold on Paddy's upper ceiling. You having fought Tony in the middle of this rough stretch for him, what's your sort of like assessment of that fight?
I mean, for Tony, this is the best fight they can give him in reality, because, like you said, it's lower level in competition, but he's a big name. So it keeps Tony like in everybody's mouth, you know. So this this kid is so popular, Paddy's so popular, and for whatever reason, good for him. Like I'm not gonna hate on his popularity. So Tony gets to fight a really popular guy, and I think he has a better chance of beating him than he does a lot of the top 10 or top fives. So it's a win-win for Tony. I think you could look at it more of a loss for Paddy, because if he wins, he was supposed to win that fight. If he loses, he lost to a guy like, that's over the hill or whatever. So strange matchup if you look at it at a first glance, but if you look at it a little bit closer, it makes sense.
Yeah, well, and Paddy's actually shares your assessment about that lose-lose thing. I like to always end these with some rapid fire, sort of give you a break from all the questions that you're going to be asked the next 2 weeks. First things first, as a coffee enthusiast, how much cream and sugar is unforgivable in your coffee?
When you say cream and sugar, are we talking about like just 100% cream, like heavy cream, or are we talking about like
Half and half. I feel like half and half is standard.
okay, okay, half and half? You can have like a what do you call it? Drop or not? What is it called when you do
Like
like
a
a
teaspoon?
slip,
A splash, a
like
splash.
a splash? There you go. You
Yeah,
could
there
do
you
a
go.
splash of a half and half. I personally prefer the heavy cream. It works better. It keeps the like for example, if you have like a fruity coffee or whatever, it keeps it enhances that taste. I don't personally use too much sugar, but I would say yeah, you can add like a small scoop of sugar. That should be enough. But then if you like cold coffee, I don't know why I feel you need more sugar because it makes
Yeah,
it almost like an ice cream.
yeah.
So it's a weird situation. When I drink hot coffee, I don't want any sugar, but when I start drinking cold coffee, it's so weird. I'm like, this would be great with sugar or
Uh,
ice cream.
a
It's
nice
a
hot
really
day. Yeah.
it's a really strange thing. So, but hot coffee, personally zero sugar. If you make me cold coffee, I want a scoop of ice cream in it.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, dude, 100%. That's the way to do it. I always have when I put out a Q&A thread, like I can't get away from people asking about why you're graying already. At what age? I'm just gonna put this rest. At what age did you start going salt and pepper? Because I actually have a Persian friend who started at like 21.
So I think I was like 15 when I got my first gray hairs, and then by like 17, they had multiplied, and I probably had around like 10 gray to 15 gray hairs or something like that. But yeah,
Crazy.
they came in pretty early.
Now I know some places will like quote you as Benny, but as far as I can tell from Boost Buffer, that's not the official nickname. Why don't we have like a proper, really mean nickname for Beneil Dariush?
I don't know. I never really thought I needed one. My name in Aramaic means the son of God, and I think that's as heavy as it gets. So I don't ever
Okay.
feel like I need a nickname. But I mean, if they gave me a nickname and it stuck, I'd stick with it. That's fine.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Benil, because the last thing I have here for you is a little game I want to play, okay? We're going to do a blind ranking. So what that means is I'm going to give you an option. You're going to place it 1 to 5, favorite to least favorite, but you're not going to know what the next nickname coming is, all right?
Uh, okay.
Okay, you're going to hate all of these, but the
Oh
only
gosh.
stipulation is whatever you pick as number 1, you're going to have to enter on Fight Week with, okay? So just want
Got it. I
to
see.
Okay, okay. Number 1, the Dean Amin Keith Jardine is one of my favorites. So for you, I have Beneil the Real Deal Dariush. Where are you putting it 1 to
Oh
5?
my gosh. I've heard this so many times, so I'm kind of over it. I'll put it at a. I'll give it a 3.
3. Okay. Hey, listen, man. I think the Silver Fox thing works for you. So we're gonna go with Blue Steel Beneil Dariush.
Steel. Dang. It's better than the real deal, I guess. I guess I'll put it at 2. Dang.
Okay. Everyone
This is
says you're
tough
so.
on
I know
me.
you're already feeling bad about your orders here. Listen, everyone says you're such a nice guy. I think maybe we need to do a whole like re-imaging of you. So what about Bad Boy Beneil Dariush?
Yeah, that's gotta go last. That's definitely not who I am.
Okay, I know you're a big coffee holic. We talked about it already. What about the Big Bean Beneil Dariush? Your options are 1 and 4.
I'll toss that to a 4. That's a negative, bro.
Okay, well, listen, man. You fight pretty balls to the wall on the cage, so by default, your number 1 nickname, I'll let Bruce Buffer know, is Beneil Balls of Steel Dariush.
I actually, yeah, that works. That
Yeah.
works. Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
Oh man.
Good. Well, thank you for playing along. I love doing this for the first time with anyone because they have no idea what they're in store for. But I'm glad. Hey, look at this. We stumbled into the best possible decision.
Yep. Balls of steel. That's
Okay.
not the worst thing I've heard.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be on vacation during your fight, but I can't tell you how much of a boost it would be to my honeymoon to come back and see a recap of.
I'll just let you know. Enjoy your honeymoon, man. Just
Okay,
have a
okay.
good honeymoon. That's all I
I
got.
appreciate you, Beneil. All right, man. Listen, I want to leave you with the last word, so I'll do my part very quick. Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. Please subscribe, tap the bell, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Thank you to CBS Sports, as always, for empowering the video. Let us know what is your favorite of the 5 nicknames listed, plus your prediction for Beneil versus Arman Tsarukyan that headlines UFC Austin on December 2nd. Beneil, balls of steel. If there's anything you want to let the people know, the floor is yours.
I like the samurai swords in the back, and yeah, just just keep calling me that. Maybe it'll stick. That's all I got, man. Thank you. Thanks to the fans for watching.